good evening, and welcome to Orbital series by Answer IAS. Two things we often see in news. On one side, companies states that they are struggling to find talent with the right technical skills. On the other side, new data on youth unemployment shows millions of graduates are struggling to find a job. Jobs are available, but workers are not. People are available, but jobs are not. This is India's great economic paradox. It's not a crisis of unemployment alone, but one of unemployability. A decade ago, on 15th July 2015, the government launched an ambitious, high-stakes answer to this very paradox, the Skill India mission. Tonight, as this mission completes 10 years, we ask a fundamental question. Has it armed India's youth for the jobs of the future? Or has it become a story of big numbers and broken promises? The answer to this question defines the future of every young Indian entering the workforce and determines whether India's famed demographic dividend will be an economic asset or a tragic liability. Let's first look at the sheer scale of the mission. The objective was monumental: to skill, reskill, and upskill over 40 crore Indians. The flagship scheme, the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, or PMKVY, was the engine of this mission. The numbers rolled out by the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship are impressive. Across its various phases, the PMKVY has trained over 1.4 crore, 14 million people. The financial outlay has been significant, with over 13,000 crores rupees allocated just for the PMKVY framework until its third phase. The implementing body, the National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC, partnered with thousands of training centers across the country, offering short-term courses in everything from welding and plumbing to data entry and retail management. The policy was simple in its design. The government would fund these short-term training courses, typically lasting 3 to 6 months. Post-training, assessment and certification would make these candidates job-ready, and placement assistance was a key component. The official projection was that this machinery would churn out a skilled workforce ready to be absorbed by a growing economy. But here is where the official projections meet a stark ground reality. While the government dashboard highlights the crores trained, the more critical number is the crores placed. Independent audits and parliamentary committee reports have repeatedly pointed to a significant gap. For instance, the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Labour has, in its reports, flagged concerns over low placement rates, which in many cases have hovered below 50%. Businesses have consistently reported a mismatch between the skills taught in these centers and the dynamic needs of the industry. The result? A certificate of completion, but no job offer. This has led to a crucial pivot in policy. The latest version, PMKVY 4.0, has shifted focus dramatically towards new age skills, artificial intelligence, robotics, drones, and 3D printing. A clear admission that the old model was not delivering the expected economic punch. So, a decade on, we have a mixed report card. High enrollment, but questionable employment. To truly understand why, we need to deconstruct the mission using our three economic pillars: the design dilemma, the ecosystem mismatch, and the future readiness challenge. First, the design dilemma. The root cause of the mission's early struggles lies in its core design. Was it truly demand-driven or was it supply-driven? The evidence points to the latter. The initial framework was built on push model, a rush to meet enrollment targets. Training partners were incentivized based on the number of candidates they enrolled, not on the number they successfully placed in quality jobs. This created a structural flaw, a focus on quantity over quality. A 3-month course in a complex trade like electrical work is often insufficient to create an industry-ready professional. This contrasts sharply with global models like the German dual-with system, where apprenticeships and on-the-job training span years, not months. The mission was designed for scale, but often at the cost of depth. Second, the ecosystem mismatch and its impact. This is about who gained and who lost. The mission's one-size-fits-all approach had varied impacts. Sectors with low entry barriers like apparel, beauty, and wellness did see some success. They were able to absorb a workforce with basic skills. But for India's high-value sectors, advanced manufacturing, capital goods, and information technology, the impact was minimal. They need a workforce with deep technical knowledge, something short-term courses could not provide. The mission, therefore, wasn't solving the skill gap where it was most acute. Socially, the impact is complex. For many youths from economically weaker sections, a PMKVY certificate was their first formal skill credential. It was a foot in the door. However, for millions who completed the training but found no job or a low-paying, informal job, it led to disillusionment. It also did little to solve a deeper structural problem: India's low female labor force participation rate. While women enrolled in courses, the lack of a supportive ecosystem, safe transport, flexible work hours, and childcare meant their transition into the formal workforce remained a challenge. Finally, the policy response and the road ahead. The government appears to have learned from the past decade. The policy response is visible in PMKVY 4.0's focus on Industry 4.0 skills. There's a clear attempt to make the system demand-driven by involving employers in curriculum design. More importantly, the integration of vocational education into mainstream schooling under the National Education Policy (NEP) 2020 is the most significant long-term structural reform. This aims to tackle the social stigma associated with vocational skills from a young age, making it an aspirational choice, not a last resort. The core policy trade-off remains speed versus quality. The road ahead requires a decisive shift towards the latter. This means strengthening the apprenticeship model through the National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme (NAPS), empowering sector skill councils to create dynamic, industry-verified curricula, and, crucially, creating a robust system for tracking and rewarding high-quality placements, not just enrollments. So where does this leave us? The 10-year journey of the Skill India mission is not a story of outright failure, nor is it one of resounding success. It is the story of a necessary, monumental effort facing the harsh realities of India's economic structure. It is a story of critical lessons learned, often the hard way. The key indicator to watch now will be the placement data from PMKVY 4.0. Will its focus on future-ready skills finally close the gap between the certificate and the career? The success of integrating skilling in schools under the NEP will be the real test of a long-term mindset shift. Ultimately, the Skill India mission holds a mirror to our greatest economic challenge. India's demographic dividend is a finite window of opportunity. The fundamental question for policymakers is no longer if we need to skill our youth, but how we can do it with the speed, scale, and, most importantly, the quality that the 21st century global economy demands. Thank you for watching.